Hey, folks, welcome back to another episode of Reality Made Real, the YouTube web series where we explore the latest trends and technologies in reality capture. I'm your host, Ramesh. I lead the reality solutions team at Autodesk. So, 2025 has been a great, exciting year for reality capture. Just a few months ago, we launched ReCap Pro 2026, and it packed with powerful new features, most notably the introduction of segment and mesh workflows. We believe this would be a game changer, but hearing directly from users like you confirmed it. The feedback has been phenomenal. Not only did this new workflow reshape our reality captures used, it opened up entirely new possibilities across the industries and user roles. So your insights align beautifully with our long-term vision, helping us prioritize the most impactful improvements. And now we're excited to bring you the next evolution, Recap Pro 2026.1 release. In today's episode, we're going to break down what's new, what's better, and how we are continuing our mission to make reality capture accessible not just for specialists, but for everyone. I'm not going to be the only guy talking throughout the session today. With me, I have two amazing colleagues from Autodesk, John, our hands-on expert who's been deep in the product, and Rishov, the product owner who's been steering the development process for this release features. I'll let them introduce themselves. John.
Well, thank you, Ramesh. My name's John Sayer. I'm a technical marketing manager here at Autodesk. Been here for working on 12 years. But have been in the reality capture product a lot of those years, and enjoy thoroughly working with Ramesh and Rishov on the new features, and just pumping out assets to show you how to use them, and to maybe hopefully make you more efficient at working with the product. So it's good to be here, and I'll turn it over to Rishov.
Yeah, hi everyone. So, like John, I'm actually also heading close to 12 years at Autodesk, and I
It's a
am the
trend.
so I am the product owner for ReCap Pro. Which what started out as an internship actually led to a long journey in reality solution space, and started out as early as the remake days for photogrammetry for object captures, and then the transition towards recap photo for drone imagery, and that has led to moving into recap pro now. And yeah, just been wonderful to be part of this journey.
Fantastic. Actually, now I think about it, I'm also closing to 12 years now. So, okay, thanks, guys. Thanks for joining in. Let's get to it. So, let's set the context. Rishabh, I know we want to include many features for this Precap Pro 2026.1 release and identified some of them as the important capabilities requested by many of the users. So, can you add some details on what were the key priorities behind this release and how do they support our goal of making recap or reality capture data more accessible for our users?
Sure, Ramesh. Great question. So, what we did is we started out by identifying customer pain points when it comes to the workflows within Recap Pro, and more importantly, the data interoperability with our collection products. Recap Pro is part of all collections that Autodesk has to provide. So we went ahead and looked at Recap ideas channels where customers give great ideas to us and feedback as well. And we also went ahead and checked the forums, skimmed through the forums to identify key pain points. And based on that, one of the items that we decided to prioritize is improving our point cloud alignment, basically. And on top of that, to keep up with industry file formats, which is key to our competitor collaboration, um, we decided to also make improvements to E57 support, which we did release in our 25.1 update previously. So yeah, we went ahead and also now enhanced that support for E57s that are coming out from Regal applications. And um, and together with this, we have a pack of enhancements for our existing features as well, which we have released for the past 3 or 4 years now. So yeah, it's a whole release altogether.
Perfect. That's well put, Rishabh. I know when we talk with the customers, some of the request is how can I get the data, get the information to other products because they have to complete the workflow. So what I love about this is how we as a recap team consistently not just building the features, but we are building the bridges, whether the user is in architecture or construction or utilities or civil infrastructure. These updates are about lowering the barrier to entry, making the recap data more accessible across the project lifecycle. Yeah. So John, let's wake you up a little bit. You've been working closely with users. What's your favorite enhancement in 26.1, and how do you think it'll help users like you to get things done with less friction?
Well, there's a couple of great new features, and um, I think the first new one that I would probably stop on is just the fact that being able to at the initial open dialog, you're now able to actually open either the point cloud or the mesh file, which is huge. If and I say huge and no pun intended, if you have a huge point cloud, right? Sometimes it might take just a little bit to open that point cloud itself. And with the previous versions, you need to open the point cloud. That's the only option you really had. You open the point cloud Recap Pro, and then you were able to go to the mesh editor from there. Now you don't have to go through the whole point cloud open process. You can just simply select either pick the point cloud or pick the mesh. And we all know the mesh file is going to be less heavy, right? It's going to be a lighter weight file. And if all you want to do is get in and make a few edits and then maybe export out some information from the mesh, no need to actually open the point cloud or interact with it at all. You could just jump right into the mesh file. So I think, initially, I think that's probably the feature that really kind of increases speed. You're going to hear me say a lot today that these new features really help to increase speed and help efficiency, which in turn makes you faster. And at the end of the day, I mean that it all goes back to bottom line. So.
Absolutely, nicely put. See, I think we talked about it last time too. Though now with the segmented mesh release, everyone, especially like users and customers, start seeing that reality behind the reality capture data is a point cloud, a means to an end. They're collecting for the end, and recap has been traditionally a point cloud visualization, rightfully so. That was the intention. But now, how to start focusing on the information content, and in that process, making the whole workflow easier and straightforward to the user is the key aspect. And this feature, I really like it because this is a great example of a proactive approach by our development teams to identify what could be the customer hindrances and how recap can avoid it. In this case, exactly you said, John, loading of billions of points every time just to go through to the next step of looking at the mesh is unnecessary. So we kind of avoided that. Very thoughtful improvements, optimizing steps. So fantastic. All right, Rishabh, let's talk about, you actually mentioned it about the point cloud alignment tool in the beginning. So let's talk about that key capability we added in this latest release and the update origin tool. I know it's gotten powerful. Your team worked on it. So what's new? Why do you think it matters to users?
So the new enhanced version of the Update Origin tool introduces two new methods. We're calling them the axis rotation and the guideline method. So, quoting one of our customers, is that when they try to align the x-axis, you get to choose a single point, and the direction of that point is determined by the normal. So this is not very exact. Uh, so as you can see, our existing methods of the update origin tool allows you to orient the axis by a single point. And this is quite troublesome for the users, basically because they have to continuously do trial and errors to try and match it to their design models. So what we have done now is, with the help of these two new methods, users would be able to select 2 points, and that would determine the axis for the origin for better point cloud alignment. So let's say I know my x-axis is aligned to the edge of a wall in my design model. All you need to do in ReCap Pro now is select that particular point, the first point, as your origin, and then your second point can be along the edge of that wall, and that determines your x-axis. And so basically this allows for a much improved alignment, and much easier, I would say, and a much better user experience when it comes to the alignment of your point clouds. And the difference between the axis rotation and the guideline method is that the guideline allows you to select any two arbitrary points in the point cloud in itself, and that would align any of these axes, whichever you prefer, whether it's the X, Y, or Z. And yeah, on top of that, we have made various other enhancements to the tool as well. We have increased precision, we have improved the ranges, the rotational range values to better align with other products like AutoCAD. So overall we feel that this tool will be much improved in terms of user experience and better point cloud alignment workflows.
Perfect, perfect. Yeah, actually, it's very interesting. This sounds like a simple tool, but has a profound impact on the user workflows. Especially, this happened even before when we had a mesh with the segmented mesh workflows. Every time we talk to the users, they always come back and say, will this fall in the right place? Will it carry the geolocation? And which we updated in 2026. Now the segmented mesh carries the coordinate system information. Then they started realizing most of the reality capture scan does not have the coordinate system embedded. So they want to position it. That kind of throws all the downstream workflows a little bit afoot. But this tool makes it so easy so that any point cloud they collect, even with the local origin, obviously, now they can bring it to the context, put in the right place. So it's not just on the Revit, ACC, model coordination, all the workflows, anything derivatives from the point clouds can line up. Fantastic. And this great way to reduce the errors downstream as well. Big, big win for the team. And one thing I would like to add on this one is from Autodesk, especially, and in general recap of we consistently working on making geolocation easy and straightforward in all our AECO products, by the way. And recap is obviously in the front and center to make sure reality capture data located properly. So any downstream, you take it to Civil 3D or Revit or like I said, model coordination, it tells exactly where it is so that those workflows can be leveraged effortlessly. Fantastic. All right, John, let's shift a gear a little bit. I know you've been a big fan of segmented mesh, and you talked a lot about mesh editor capability added in the Recap Pro. You loved it. And based on the feedback, like from you and the more active users like you, we added more capabilities in this release. I'm sure you tried it out already. So tell us why you like them as an avid user who tries hard to break the product. That's good.
Tries hard to break the product, huh? Well, first thing, I want to just add just a little bit to what Rishov and yourself explained with the origin tool. You need to remember that if you have a point cloud and it already has a mesh generated from that point cloud, if you reset the origin in the point cloud, it carries through to the mesh. So that's huge. That's very cool. You don't have to adjust it in two places. You just change it and it updates. That's for, not only a mesh file that's already, or a mesh that's already been generated, but any of the new meshes that are generated, obviously it's going to come in and be in the right spot. As far as mesh editor improvements, you have a new select all geometries option for layers that have been updated. You just have to right click on the layer and choose to select all the geometries contained within that layer. And meaning it's just a process of 2 clicks and doesn't require any kind of 3D selection, right? Much, much easier to select geometries. Also, the new quick export feature, it has a simplified UI that's more obvious, gives you a more obvious export function than the main UI, making it easier to making exporting easier to find and complete. You still have those options or the advanced options to export. You don't have now. They didn't take that away from you. That you still have that option too. But the new express export feature, quick export feature, is fantastic. Makes it much easier to get that done, to export features out. And it may sound subtle, okay, but the check layers on export is now default to the currently visible layers. Okay, so what you see is what you get. All right, if you go to export, those layers that you see will be checked. Much easier than remembering that you have to go in and check which ones you want. Right. So great things that have been updated with the mesh editors. Some of them may be so very simplistic, but huge time savers, right? Again, I said I was going to talk a lot about time. That's a huge thing. So great new features for the mesh editor.
I can be very confident we did something right if we make John happy. Talk about it.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
But you're absolutely right, John. These are the kind of updates that clearly shows we are listening to the users, right? These are the inputs we got when we have the segmented mesh, the mesh editor workflows, especially when you take those information to other places like Revit and ACC, more speed, more clarity, and more control for the users to work on it, get some actionable information out of those large point cloud data. And this feature is a great example how we aspire to deliver all three in every single feature we add. So fantastic, fantastic. So the other feature, the other big ticket item is in this release, especially, is how recap starts to align with GIS based existing conditions as well. This is also some of the requests it came up multiple times from the users. And we took a small but significant step with the switch to ESRI Basemaps in this latest release. So, Rishabh, can you explain why we made that change and what it means for the users?
Yeah. So enterprise support for Bing Maps, which currently Recap the photo to 3D service within Recap Pro supports, is ending in 2028, and the ask from Microsoft is that we move to Azure Maps. Um, this does impact the long-term support for our Autodesk products. And what we decided is that based on the Esri partnership that we are all aware of, this allows us to integrate their base maps within our suite of products. And we've seen AutoCAD, Civil 3D, and Forma as well now integrate Esri base maps. So for Recap Pro to better align themselves with the collection suite of products that Autodesk has to offer, we have gone ahead and also integrated the Esri base maps for our photo to 3D service in Recap Pro. So this will, in the long run, prevent disruption for the users and also give us the ability to provide even better mapping capabilities. Yeah, that's the main thing.
Yeah, beautiful. Actually, yeah. Thanks for the information. That's actually another great example of future proofing. We cannot future proof everything, but in this case, we are not just reacting. We are anticipating what could be the issues, what could be challenges customer can see in this one, even 3 years down the road. And now by aligning with S3, we're not only solving that problem, but we are also opening doors for accessing more reliable, more high quality mapping for years to come. And like I said, this kind of streamlines, aligns ourselves with the S3 workflow, GIS workflows that have more existing conditions validity with the reality capture data. So yeah, fantastic start there. Hoping to hear a lot from the users after checking it out. So the workflow win aspects. So John, I know you work with the customers with juggling massive data sets. I know you did that by yourself too. How do some of the new features in latest ReCap Pro 2026.1 help streamline some of those subtle features, but helps you a lot day-to-day life? What do you think?
So are you're talking about workflows, right?
Workflows or multitasking, anything that the features that
So
one.
maybe having multiple instances of recap at once.
Yeah.
Sounds so simple, but very, very nice. Okay. I'm very excited about this. Let me give you a scenario. So I've got a big project I'm working on, maybe 150, 200 scans that are large. I have that session of Recap Pro open, and I'm processing those scans. I get a phone call that says, "Hey, I need you to grab something out of the mesh for me and email it over, or post it to the cloud, or do whatever with it." Okay, I'm stuck because I can't do anything because I'm processing that huge point cloud data. Now, very simply, and thank you, development, we can open two versions or two sessions of Recap Pro. So I can simply open another session of Recap Pro and I can go about my business. I can open up another point file. I can make a change. I can grab something out of the mesh, send it out. Bottom line is I can do two things at once, which is again a huge time saver. I'm not having to wait. Even though Recap Pro does process very quickly large data sets, it still takes a while. As you know, it's huge data. So being able to open 2 sessions, 3 sessions, 4 sessions, if you're crazy, okay, you might run out of system resources if you've got huge data that you're using. But the bottom line is that's a huge, huge, huge super time saver. Okay, so when you say simplify or make workflows better, or being able to juggle massive data sets, that one thing definitely hits the mark.
Perfect, perfect. And you know where the Rishabh and the team live, so send the gifts anytime they're expecting it. So
Yeah.
true, okay. But you're absolutely right, John. The flexibility of using large data, actually, you nailed down very common, very specific use case of need to open something to do something while I'm processing. It's one of the important workflow, important flexibility customers are asking. I'm really glad we can finally squeeze that in and as a part of the product. If anyone did not try it out, check it out in 26.1. It's right there. So having either with the cleaning of the annotations or the multiple tasks in parallel, the removing the friction part, giving people their time back is valuable, very valuable. And we know that and we're working on that. So one of the common theme I see, not just this release, but any release for that matter, but especially this release is we're not just adding features, we are building towards the future where the reality capture is as common as a CAD data, for example. Because at the end, that information, that the content is what customers are wanting for, not just the millions and billions of points to brag about. So, Rishabh, from your perspective, how do you think these updates help us and our users get there?
So Ramesh, every update that we do for our release, or every feature that we have been introducing for the past few releases, are geared towards this vision of having reality capture as a common input and output from Autodesk. So we started out with segmented mesh models in our ReCap Pro 2026 version, and this has allowed us to start a journey for integration of common data with other Autodesk products. Um, we are also making improvements in terms of scalability within every release on every feature that we try to implement. And we are working closely with our external vendors as well as to find common workflows on how best they can get their data within ReCap Pro for further processing and integration with other Autodesk products within the same ecosystem that we have today. And one such example would be the E57 workflow, which we did uh, introduce in 25.1, and we're constantly making improvements to it. Yeah, in every release.
That's perfect. That's perfect. I think there's one thing. Actually, I heard this as a feedback from many users is how the team we have a development team and work think and expect like what users want and users need, think like a customer so that exactly fixing their problems and not just today's problem, and we are laying the groundwork for the future where the recap can be part of, should be part of every project, every team, every industry. So fantastic. So John, what's the next frontier you think in making this reality capture more universal from your perspective as a user?
Well, I mean, the more we can automate processes, the more efficient we'll be. And I'm really looking through the lens of saving time, right? I mean, that's been my whole talk track today is saving time, saves money, saves headaches, saves all kinds of things. Of course, we can't talk about the next frontier without talking about AI. And don't forget any kind of workflow that we can actually perform on the fly or mobily, right? So there's so many different ideas and options that can come from AI. And like I mentioned earlier, these types of features, they save time. So anything that is generated around AI is definitely something to look forward to. And I'm looking forward to seeing development roll out these features so that Ramesh and Rishov can bring them to me and we can test and break. I mean, test and work through, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, you're right. I think like we saw in the AU or other betas we have, the AI is coming up with automation aspect, and it's no longer a dream or a vision. It's practical, and we're actually putting in the practical aspects. Definitely, that's a great way to start the next journey with our foundation as segmented mesh as well. And the way I really like is world where capturing and using this real world data, like a reality capture data, is as easy as snapping a photo. It should be just that easy and that powerful. I mean, think about it. Reality captures in our industry for what? Last 2 decades, but always sits as an elite tool. Only few stakeholders access it, even that for only specific use cases. So now, with the latest releases, Recap Pros definitely breaking that barrier to open reality capture for all across the portfolio, across the products, across the stakeholders to help them maximize their investments. And I agree and excited for all the capabilities we've rapidly added the span of actually past 6 to 18 months and more on what we can do with this solid foundation. So it's a great reflection. Like I said, a lot of use cases we saw in AU and presentations and fantastic. So that's a wrap, guys. So Rishabh and John, thank you both for being here. Recap 2026.1 isn't just another update. It's a bold step forward. All the capabilities you guys talked about proves that actually. And we are doubling down on making this point cloud data, reality capture data faster, smarter, and more accessible. To all our listeners, explore this new feature, share your thoughts, and like John was saying, try it. If you can break it, let us know if you break it. We will fix it for you. It won't break, I promise that. And John the breaker, yeah.
I wasn't alluding that it was going to break when you said, hey, maybe,
It's a new frontier, right? We're trying new things. We obviously test a lot and stuff, but there are edge cases. We will fix it, obviously, right? But the features are fantastic, and so check it out. Share your thoughts. Help us shape what's next. That's where we can work together to build a better workflows. And for deeper insights, I know we talked a lot about it. If you want to go more details, please visit the YouTube channel Autodesk Building Solutions. You will see a lot of videos. John created most of those videos actually. You will see it. And Autodesk Learning site actually has a very detailed walkthroughs and resources, step by step. We call it as a curated list. You can't miss it. Check it out on Autodesk Learning site. So as always, reach out to us directly. Feel free to. Our teams are listening and eager to incorporate your feedback to ensure reality capture journey is seamless and powerful. We are completely committed to that. So, with that great note, until next time, keep scanning, keep building, above all, keep it real. Thank you.